Have you ever climbed into bed feeling completely exhausted, only to find that your body is tired but your mind is still fully awake? Your eyes burn, your shoulders feel heavy, your whole body wants rest, but your thoughts will not settle. You replay something someone said earlier. You think about tomorrow. You notice a strange tightness in your chest or stomach. You try to relax, but somehow the harder you try, the more awake you seem to feel. If that sounds familiar, I want to tell you something important. You may not simply have a sleep problem. You may be dealing with something deeper and quieter. Stress. Not always obvious stress. Not dramatic stress. Not the kind that makes headlines in your day. But quiet stress. The kind that builds in the background. The kind you carry so long that it starts to feel normal. The kind that does not always show up as panic during the day, but shows up very clearly when the lights go out and your nervous system no longer has distractions. And for many adults over 60, this kind of stress is more common than people realize. Today, we are going to talk about what quiet stress really is, why it affects sleep so deeply, how to tell the difference between simple insomnia and a body that is quietly stuck on alert, and what you can do to help your nervous system soften before bed. Because sometimes the problem is not that your body forgot how to sleep. Sometimes the problem is that your system no longer feels fully safe enough to let go. Once you understand that, everything starts to make more sense. Let's begin with what quiet stress actually is. When most people hear the word stress, they imagine something obvious. A crisis, an argument, bad news, a major life problem. But quiet stress often looks very different. It can be the stress of carrying responsibility for years without fully exhaling. It can be the stress of worrying about health, family, money, medications, aging, or the future, even when you do not talk about it out loud. It can be the stress of loneliness, the stress of loss, the stress of feeling needed by everyone while trying not to become a burden yourself. And sometimes it is not one big thing. Sometimes it is 20 small things that never fully leave your system. That is what makes quiet stress so powerful. It does not always shout. It hums. It lives in a clenched jaw, a tight neck, a stomach that never fully softens, a mind that keeps scanning for what might go wrong next. And many older adults become especially vulnerable to this kind of stress because life after 60 often comes with more invisible emotional weight than people acknowledge. Health changes, sleep changes, energy changes, family roles change, the world feels faster, the body feels less predictable. Even when a person seems calm on the outside, the nervous system may still be carrying far more than anyone can see. And that matters because sleep does not begin with a mattress. Sleep begins with a sense of safety. If the nervous system still feels alert, watchful, or emotionally loaded, sleep often becomes lighter, more fragile, and harder to hold on to. That is why some people can feel tired all day, but still wake up the moment their head hits the pillow. Their body is not refusing sleep. It is guarding them from letting go. Now let's talk about the worries that never fully get named, because this is where a lot of shallow sleep begins. Many people do not go to bed thinking, I am stressed. They go to bed thinking, I am just tired. I am just not sleeping well. I am just getting older. But underneath that may be unresolved mental tension, a concern about test results you have not gotten yet, a grown child you still worry about, a financial pressure you keep pushing to the side, a fear of becoming dependent, a grief you have learned to function around but never truly processed. These thoughts do not always show up clearly during the day because daily life keeps interrupting them. But at night, when the world gets quiet, They finally have space to rise. That is why bedtime can feel like the moment your hidden stress becomes audible. And this kind of stress changes sleep in very specific ways. It can make it harder to fall asleep. It can make you wake up after a few hours. It can keep you in that frustrating, half-awake state where you are resting, but not deeply restoring. It can leave you feeling like you were in bed all night without ever truly arriving in sleep. That is why some people say, I slept, but I do not feel like I slept. What they often mean is, my body was in bed, but my nervous system never fully powered down. So how do you know whether this is more than just trouble sleeping? There are usually clues. One sign is that your mind feels active even when your body is exhausted. Another is that you feel tired all day, but more alert at bedtime, as if your system gets a second wind the moment you want rest. Another clue is waking up between 2 and 4 in the morning with thoughts already moving. Some people notice they fall asleep from exhaustion, but wake a few hours later with a racing mind, a tense body, or a vague sense that something is wrong. You may also notice physical signs, a tight chest, a clenched jaw, restless legs, a stiff neck, shallow breathing, a stomach that feels unsettled for no clear reason. These can all be signs that the body is not simply awake, it is on guard. And there is another clue many people miss. You may find it difficult to truly relax even during the day. You sit down but do not feel settled. You lie down but do not feel soft. You rest but do not feel restored. That matters. Because if the nervous system never fully shifts into recovery mode during the day, it often has a hard time doing it at night too. Now here is the part that frustrates so many people. When sleep becomes difficult, the natural response is to try harder. You check the clock. You beg yourself to fall asleep. You search for the perfect pillow, the perfect supplement, the perfect position. You tell yourself, I have to sleep now. But that pressure often makes the whole thing worse, because sleep is not something you can force with effort. In fact, effort is often the problem. The more pressure you put on sleep, the more your nervous system reads the situation as urgent. And once the body senses urgency, it becomes even less willing to let go. It is similar to trying to calm down by yelling at yourself to calm down. It does not work. The body does not respond well to force when what it needs is safety. That is why trying to make yourself sleep often backfires. The mind becomes more frustrated. The body becomes more alert. And bedtime starts to feel like a performance you are failing instead of a natural process you are supporting. So what actually helps? Not more pressure, not more self-criticism, not more fighting. What helps is reducing the level of background threat in the system before bed. In other words, helping the nervous system lower its guard. And that brings us to the practical part. If quiet stress is part of the reason you are not sleeping well, then your evening routine has to do more than prepare the bed. It has to prepare the body. One helpful technique is a gentle nervous system reset through breathing. Not aggressive breathing, not complicated breathing, just slow, steady exhaling that tells the body the danger has passed. Try this. Breathe in gently through your nose for a count of 4, then exhale slowly for a count of 6 or 8. Do that several times without trying to perform it perfectly. The goal is not control. The goal is a softer rhythm. Another useful technique is unloading mental weight before bed. Take a notebook and write down what is circling in your mind. Not beautifully, not in complete sentences, just honestly. Write the worry, write the reminder, write the unfinished thought. Then next to it, write the next step, even if that step is tiny. Call the doctor on Tuesday. Check the bill tomorrow morning. Text my daughter after breakfast. This tells the brain, You do not have to hold this all night. It has been noticed. It has a place. Another method is body softening. Before sleep, check your jaw, your shoulders, your hands, your stomach. Ask yourself, what am I still holding? Then deliberately loosen it. Drop the shoulders. Unclench the jaw. Open the hands. Let the belly soften. Sometimes the body is carrying emotional stress in physical form long after the mind has stopped naming it. You can also reduce stimulation in the last hour before bed. Less news, less scrolling, less problem solving, less exposure to anything that keeps the nervous system scanning, comparing, or bracing. Many people do not realize how often they are feeding stress late into the evening and then wondering why the body will not sleep. And one more thing helps more than people expect. Give yourself permission to stop trying to be productive at night. Night is not the time to solve your life. It is not the time to mentally rehearse every risk. It is not the time to make big emotional decisions. It is not the time to prepare for every possible tomorrow. Sometimes the most healing thing you can say before bed is this: nothing else is required of me tonight. That kind of internal permission can be deeply calming, because in many cases, the nervous system is not asking for more solutions, it is asking for relief. So as we close, here is the message I want to leave with you. If you are over 60 and struggling with sleep, do not assume the problem is only your mattress, your bedtime, or your age. Sometimes the real issue is that your nervous system has been carrying more than it can comfortably hold. Quiet stress, silent worry, unspoken tension, the emotional weight of being human for a long time. And if that is true for you, the answer may not be to chase sleep harder. The answer may be to make your evenings feel safer, softer breathing, less stimulation, more emotional unloading, more gentleness with yourself, more signals that the day is over and your body is allowed to stand down. Because sometimes to sleep better, you do not just need a better bed, you need a quieter inner world. And that does not happen all at once. It happens one evening at a time. So tonight, instead of asking, why can't I sleep? Try asking, what is my nervous system still holding on to? That question may change more than you expect. And before you go, tell me in the comments, do you think your sleep struggles are more about insomnia or more about quiet stress that never fully shuts off? If this video helped you see your sleep in a new way, save it and share it with someone who may need it too. Take care of yourself, be gentle with your mind tonight, and I will see you in the next video.